Everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm Chase Lee, reviewing for DallasMovieScreenings.com, and the movie I want to take a look at right now is The Wretched. Now, this one comes from IFC Midnight. It is directed by Drew and Brett Pierce, and this one tells the story of a defiant teenage boy struggling with his parents' imminent divorce, faces off with a 1,000-year-old witch who is living beneath the skin of and posing as the woman next door. And if that sounds about as gross and creepy as you're thinking, congratulations, you're correct on both accounts. From the description alone, if this is right up your alley, please check it out. But yeah, going into this, I saw one trailer for it. I thought it looked cool. I love horror films, so why not? So whenever IFC sent me the opportunity to review it, thank you, IFC, I was like, I'm going to take it because I love IFC and their labeling with their IFC brand and IFC Midnight. You just never know what you're going to get. They put their label on whatever they think is weird and genre specific and, just something that's off brand. I like that. They're kind of a wild card distribution company, which is sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. You just never know what you're going to get. So with The Wretched, I got to tell you, I like this one. And I'm a fan of horror films in general. I'm a fan of like 80s horror, body horror, gory films, creepy films, unnerving films. I love it all. And if this isn't, up your alley, I don't think you're going to appreciate this because it is definitely graphic for sure. But if you are into this type of film, I think you should give this one a watch and check it out. It hits VOD on May 1st, this Friday. So I gotta tell you, the Pierce brothers, the one thing I really appreciate about this film is the homage and the kind of like care that they have for this movie, because it feels like an 80s film. It feels like a John Carpenter film, a David Cronenberg, where they're mixing gory, violent body horror transformation scenes, while at the same time having these really kind of unnerving and disturbing kind of subtle scares throughout the film, where they use a lot of wide shots and a lot of long distance shots to have someone standing there in the background, or maybe someone's not standing there. You have no clue. Your eye does a lot of trickery, and it just ignites that kind of imagination in your mind, like, oh, what's going on over there? Like, I see a figure. I don't know what their facial expression is. I don't know what's going on. Is that the witch? Is that I have no clue. So they keep that suspense level kind of like fresh and vibrant throughout the entire film. The whole atmosphere that they create is absolutely astounding for this type of genre film. I love what the Pierce brothers did in terms of visual aesthetic, really kind of hammering in the creepiness, the goriness, and just the overall entertainment of this horror film. Great job on that. So I want to talk about the story a little bit because something kind of caught me off guard in a good way. But the story itself, like I said, it's kind of reminiscent of old school horror films, even down to like some of the cliches of like, have you ever like watched a horror film and like the main character is trying to figure out like what this specific thing is? So they go to the library, they go to the internet and try to do a bunch of research. So you have like this research montage. They have that. It's very short and brief, but they have it. The main character, he goes online to like try to figure out like who this witch is and like where she came from. What's the lore behind this particular witch? And and so once again, the story itself, it's vaguely interesting. The mystery is there. It's enough to kind of hold you in and garner your attention for the hour and a half runtime. But the story itself is not like mesmerizing or whatever. It is what it is. It's more of the thrill ride and the entertainment value that this movie brings. But one of the things I really appreciated was the ending, the twist ending. Usually with twist endings, writers or directors that wrote their own scripts and they're directing it, sometimes they'll throw in twists that don't make any sense. They just throw it in because they want to be cool, they want to be edgy, they want to be the next M. Night Shyamalan. Sometimes that's not the case. For this movie in particular, there is a twist at the end, and it was actually pretty well handled. There's a couple scenes in the beginning, logically, that might have be a little muddy with that twist, and they could have conveyed it a little bit better. But other than that, it was actually pretty well executed. And when it happened, even I was shocked. And I'm a pretty dumb person, and sometimes twists get by me. But for the most part, I can pinpoint what's going to happen, twists and everything. But like, it's very rare nowadays for a movie to catch me off guard, and this one caught me off guard. And so when the twist happened, my mind was working like a puzzle, and I was trying to figure out like, okay, so in that scene, like, okay, they were able to pull it off like that. Maybe this scene they could have, I don't know if I believe that, but then like this scene worked really well. It's like, it was very well written from that standpoint in crafting this twist inside this movie, and, you know, figuring out all the plot points that were kind of like said throughout the movie. And like, okay, that makes sense. Like I said, some of the logic in some of the scenes, I don't really buy 100%, but I gotta give them credit. It caught me off guard, and it works well for the most part. The acting is not like anything outstanding where like I'm just like, yeah, watch this movie for the wonderful performances in The Wretched. No, but there are a couple standouts. I really appreciated John Paul Howard, Ben. He's the main character. He's a curious kid. He's new to the town. You know, he's just trying to find answers, and, you know, he's playing little PI over there in his house, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He was a fun lead to follow, and his friend, played by Piper Curda, Mallory, they make a great team. They were trying to figure out like what's the problem with the neighbor and why she's acting so weird. The dad of the son, Jameson Jones, he was good too. I like their father-son relationship. You know, with these horror films nowadays, a lot of them are relying on real-life situations that people are going through, whether it be like domestic disputes, divorces. A lot of trauma is, you know, been throughout the horror genre, throughout, you know, the history of the genre. But it seems like nowadays, like, a lot of horror films are really kind of pushing the trauma element forward, which is awesome, using horror as a backdrop and really focusing on the drama and the trauma of these people and what they're going through. And the divorce thing is not really like that. It's not like that potent to the story, but it does add a nice layer to the film that's unexpected, because you just expect some kind of throwaway, mindless entertainment with this type of story. But I do appreciate them trying to inject some type of drama that we can attach ourselves to with these characters and kind of sympathize with as they're going through this horrific journey. So, you know, I'll give them props for trying. And then the last person I wanted to mention performance-wise, where is she at? Zara Mahler? Is that how you pronounce it? It's a cool name. She plays the person that gets, let's just say, possessed by the witch. Great job. Very, like, kind of like a body, like, kind of, you know, I don't know how to say it. It's stuff like The Ring and The Grudge, where, like, the actresses playing those, you know, entities are, like, their bodies are, like, contorted and just, like, moving everywhere, and, like, you can hear the bones cracking and stuff. And I thought she was committed to that performance. And a lot of other people that the witch encounters also committed, because you have to feel like this witch has this power around her, and that's really kind of hard to convey when this, you know, this is a very low budget movie. This is not some special heavy effects movie, so you have to rely on performances and convincibility, and a lot of the practical effects like kind of jump through as well to sell us on that point. So yeah, the performance, you know, it is what it is, but I figure I'd kind of go one by one explaining how each of them are. And like I said, the last thing, they rely a lot on practical effects. Some of the best I've seen in a long time. A lot of ones where, you know, the witch is inside of people, because that's what she does. She wears other people as skins and poses as them. And when she's like crawling out of the body, it's so disgusting and disturbing and awesome at the same time. You can't look away. It's kind of entrancing to watch, you know, these creepy like witch hands like coming out of a stomach and like crawling. It's just, that is the type of creativity I love seeing in filmmakers, where, like, listen, their budget's not that high. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be embarrassed by it. But if you utilize it to its full potential, you can creep the hell out of people and really establish like this really kind of engrossing horror film based on practical effects, and it makes you feel like this thing is crawling around these houses and slithering around. It makes it more believable, and it doesn't take you out of the experience. It puts you right in there and makes it as terrifying as possible. So got to give them props on that. But other than that, I like it. It's like I said, I don't really have too many issues. Like I said, the performances are whatever, the story is whatever. The twist, some logic, whatever. I had fun with it. The kind of issues I have with this film don't really deter it from my grade. I'm gonna give it a B. It's a good horror film. And if you're in the mood for a good horror film, you want to like cozy up with your spouse or by yourself, and you just want to watch something scary at night, check this one out. It hits VOD May 1st, and recommend it. So let me know down below what you thought of The Wretched, and please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get up to dates on whenever I review anything that's on VOD nowadays. And then, of course, subscribe to my podcast feed, Reel Me In: the Movie Podcast. I would really appreciate it. I have these in podcast form as well. And then my co-host has extra content as well, doing some top 10 list if you guys want to give that a checkout. Give it a checkout. My brain is mush today, guys. But let me know down below all that stuff and subscribe to everything. So that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee for DallasMovieScreenings.com. And tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.